Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 28 of Journaling on a Budget Starting Over. And so today we are going to finish the inside covers of the journal. And if we have time, we will work on finishing the front cover also. But we'll just have to see how our time goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is take off our spine dangle. Excuse me. And I'm going to take out both of the signatures. So I'm just going to take these and put them over here. And then I can just slide them out, leaving the band on there because that will keep it together. Whoops. And slide this one out also. So there we go. So now we have the inside of our cover. This is our top. And so what I've chosen is, I have this paper here, which is one of my absolute favorite papers. And this came in like a 20 pack, so I bought 2 of them. And so you probably seen me use it before. But the first thing I'm going to do is, it's kind of got this creepy clown on here. I do not like him. And some people like clowns, so that's cool, but I don't care for him. So he's going to kind of go away. And what I need to do is I need enough paper to cover the front and back cover. I'm going to put fabric in the middle. So the 5.5 inches is how wide the covers are. Double check and make sure the other is also the same. So I need 11 inches. And this is a 12-inch piece of paper. That means that I can cut off 1 inch to get rid of him, and I will still have enough paper. And that's going to work. So there we go. We'll just say he's gone. There. Now the paper is much prettier. At least to me, it's prettier. So I'm going to get rid of that top strip just so as I'm measuring, I won't have to worry about that. So now we are going to cut this at 5.5 inches. Okay, it is 11 inches, which is perfect. So let's go to 5.5. Line your paper up with the lines on your cutter. And now we should have 5.5 and 5.5 if I did it right, and I did. Okay, now we need our length. And the length is, let's see, 8.5, not quite 8 3/4. So it's like 1/16 less than 8 3/4. Let me double check on this side. And yes, 1/16 less than 8 3/4. So I'm going to make it just even a touch shorter than that. And that's for, so I have a little bit of leeway. So there's 8 3/4. There's 1/16 less than that. And I'm going to probably come down another 16. So I'm going to make it 8 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 5/8. I don't know. 5 marks anyways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes, 8 5/8. So there we go. Now we have our front and our backs. Now I am going to, because I have something I want to put a nameplate in the front, I'm going to use the decorative one on the back so that they'll both have some interest. And these will make great journaling cards for inside of our journal. So we'll keep those set aside. And then I pulled out some of my hand-painted fabrics, and I was hoping that one of these would work because I love this texture or this look, but I don't have any wide enough. But then I did find this purple one, so that's going to be great because it's going to go really well with this. And then these colors go well with the front and back of our signatures. So we're going to cut this fabric to be a little bit wider than, I guess got a straight edge on each end. We want it a little wider than our spine because I want the paper to glue on top of the fabric. So I am just going to say right about here is where I'm going to cut it. So I'm just going to put a cut right there and then rip it so that I know I have a nice straight piece. And now that's going to stick. That's probably about a 1/2 inch on each side of the fold. And then I'm going to rip across the top because even though it's a cut edge, it doesn't look straight. So that way I know the top is straight. And I'm going to just take out a few threads just to give me a little fringe on the top because I like that look. Okay, so there we go. So that's going to just stick right up to the top, and then we're going to come down to the bottom, and I'm going to cut it right here, which I keep doing it on the hard side for me to cut. There we go. Rip across there and remove a few of these. Now I'm going to go ahead and stick this down with Fabri-Tac because it sticks quickly, and this is fabric, so it will give a good hold. But you don't have to have Fabri-Tac. You can use whatever you would like. With the Fabri-Tac, it doesn't like come through your fabric like some other glues can. So I just kind of want to look and make sure. And yes, it does touch the top and the bottom. And what I'm going to do, because it was there when it was painted, it's a little bit stiff. And so I'm going to hopefully not take off too much, but I'm going to take that off of there. That's not going to work. Getting too close. Let me see, how much can I can maybe take off a little bit more. There we go. So, and then that will be cool to use for something else, but it is just a little bit stiff, and I didn't want that under my paper. I don't have to worry about shredding or whatever that side because we're not gonna see it. So, all right, so that's gonna go in there like that. And so I'm just gonna put that in with some Fabri-Tac. This top is all sticky, so I'm going to get that off of there. And then I just want to make sure that I get it right up at the edge. I want to get around our little cutouts here. And if I get a little bit too much glue coming out towards the sides, that's okay because we're covering it with the paper. So it's not going to show. And then you just want to make sure that with your Fabri-Tac, keep it kind of, rub it around and keep it kind of flat so that it's not lumpy under your fabric. And the other thing is, it does dry fairly quickly. So you do want to move fairly quickly. So get your important edges. Technically, maybe you should do this part first and then get the important edges. I want to get in that crease for sure. Maybe you should do the important edges last so that you know they're nice and wet and sticky. Okay. I'm just going to line it up at the top, trying to feel for the crease. Then just smooth it down to the bottom. And there we go. I'm going to fold this over. Kind of make sure that I get that crease nice and pressed. Okay, now I do need to make sure that I know where my top is. So it's up there. And for the paper, I don't want to use the Fabri-Tac. It's cardstock, so the glue is not going to really soak through it. And I would prefer the stick of tacky glue, which is a wetter glue, so it doesn't dry as fast. So I don't have to worry about part of it getting dry. I'm going to make sure I get the edges. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this on here, and then I'm going to spread it out with a spreader so that it's completely covered. So I'm just going to take my glue spreader here and just make sure that I get all the way to the edges. I want to make sure that I get to that fold in the spine, maybe even hold it up a little bit. I want a nice thin coat of glue. And I want to make sure that I've got it everywhere. Okay, I'm going to slide this one out of the way. And we're going to put this one right on here. Right out to that outside edge. There we go. Make sure we give it a good press. Smooth it down, smooth out any like lumps that you have of glue. Any glue that's under there that is kind of lumpy will spread around if you give it a good nice press. And there we go. That looks good. Got just a touch of brown here at the bottom, and because we did it just a titch short, and that's all right. Maybe even trying, it's not going to slide anywhere because we've got it hooked in there great. Okay, so now we're going to do the top cover, which does not have a top or a bottom to the paper, an upside or a downside, so I don't have to worry about which way my thing is. I'm going to put it this way because I'm right-handed. It's easier for me to work on this side. I want to make sure that I get it on the fabric there, out to the edges, and then get it on there. And yes, there is a little bit of glue being wasted here, but you definitely want to make sure that you get it completely covered. And, you know, if you just do like this and put it on, you would never notice that you used, you know, you used exactly the same amount of glue as what I'm using right now, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But when you spread it out, a lot of times you do. Actually, you probably should wind up with a little bit extra, because if you don't, then you really may not have it all the way out to the edges. If there's not a little bit, whoops, if there's not a little bit coming out off that edge. There we go, nice and flat. And now, whoops, I'm going to line this right up here. I really want it to line up at the top, since the other side I lined up at the top. There we go. There we go. Now give it a good spread, or a good press. Get that pressed right down there. I got brown paint on here, so gotta be careful. There we go. So there we go. Now we have our inside cover. Whoops. Because I peeled it up here, I took the glue with it. I don't want to leave that like that, so we are definitely going to put some more glue on here. And spread it out. Well, I want a little bit more right in here. Get that right up under there. There we go. There we go. So now, normally I would take this and put it under something for a little bit to really press it flat. So, but we also have the fact that the front cover has already the decoration on it, so we can't press that flat. So I am just going to get the little bit of glue on the bottom here. So just want to get that off before it dries. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to work on the front cover, and then I will wind up putting this in a heavy book, and I'm not exactly sure what I will do here. I will probably set something around the lifted areas. I'll put our dangle up into here, and then just put a little bit there to hold that flat also. So I'm not going to put now because this is fabric, the fabric will bend when we put our elastics back on there. So it's not like paper that's going to get all mucky. And so now the dangle. It was suggested, like the comments were that yes, the dangle should go in the middle. And then I did have a suggestion that the dangle needs a little bit of color. And so I thought, well, this is the fibers that we used for our dangle on the spine. It does match the colors here very nicely too. And so I thought that, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do just yellow or kind of do the yellow in, whoops. I think that I want to do it like that. Yep, I think that that's going to be really pretty. So we're going to go ahead and add that to it. Now, I have to decide how am I going to add it to it. If I go out one bead, and maybe wrap it around there, and then go one bead on the other side of the gold, and whoops, let's see here. How did I do that one? This one I went from front to back so that it's on the back. So I want to do the same with this one. So I'll go from the front to the back. So they're both hanging down off the back of the dangle. Yeah, I think I like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue in there. Like that. Come over here. Put a little bit in here. Like that. Just to keep it nice and tight there. Alrighty. Pull that down tight and pull that down tight. Okay, now this is going to go there, so I'm going to snip these off without pulling on them because they do have a little spring to them. And then I'm going to hook this on here with super glue because I think that will hold it so much better. So I'm going to put a little bit on the 2 gold beads and a little bit on each side, right out to where I just put those dangles. You can kind of catch those also. All right, now just make sure that I've got it in the right. Not good when you get glue all over your hands. Okay, there's 1 bead over there, 1 bead over there. All right, so I'm going to put that bead in so that it's got my dangle pointing down. Make sure that this one is up there with the dangle pointing down. And I'm not going to worry about how that looks right this second. Make sure that this is pressed. This is kind of pressed right up and over the cover plate there. And then down onto the cardboard. So that incorporates everything. So there we go. And that is a gel super glue. So even though super glue is supposed to grab super fast, it doesn't always necessarily do that. But it does hold very well once it dries. So I'm just kind of making sure that everything is in its place as it's trying to dry. So there we go. So for right this second, I'm going to leave this flat and give that a chance to dry. And that is what the front cover is going to look like. The colors were a great suggestion. Thank you very much for suggesting that because I really do like it and I like the colors you suggested. So I'm going to put this book here and it's going to hold the back down. It's not quite wide enough to hold my top flat. I'll put this book in here. There we go. So now that will give us a little bit of stability to kind of hold everything where it's supposed to be while it's drying. And again, just kind of go in there and adjust that as it's drying. There's a little bit of super glue on there, so I'm kind of trying to rub that off before it gets completely dry. And there we go. So I'll just kind of check on this every so often. Give it a little push to make sure that it's staying down. And for these areas, I'm going to find something a little bit heavier to set there to just kind of hold the corners down. Even these, it doesn't have to be super heavy, just something, because this is wet, because I put wet glue on it. Just something to go ahead and hold it flat while it's drying. And then I've got the book inside to hold the bottom cover nice and flat while it's drying. And then I'll just check on that as we go. So there we go. Now we have our inside done, and we have our cover done. Our spine is done. So next week we will work on some tucks and that type of thing. I believe that it's pretty much full, so we're getting very close to being done with this one. Then we'll just start another one. Thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate you, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.